the accidental sugar baby. Orm Cornifat had $3 to her name, paint stains on her jeans, and absolutely no idea how she ended up at a high society gala in a hotel that probably cost more per night than her rent for 6 months. It had started with a simple mistake. She was supposed to be delivering an art piece, an abstract mess of blues and golds she made for a client. But somehow, a sleek, black-suited man had mistaken her for one of the special guests and whisked her inside before she could protest. Now, she was here, surrounded by silk gowns, champagne flutes, and the kind of expensive perfume that smelled like old money and zero responsibilities. And then she saw her, Ling Kwong, the Ling Kwong, the CEO of Kwong Enterprises, a billionaire, a goddess in an all-black power suit, sipping her drink with the kind of calm that screamed, "I own the world, and maybe you if I feel like it." Orm was about to turn and bolt when Ling's gaze landed on her, sharp, assessing. Then she smirked. "You're new," Ling purred, stepping closer. Orm's brain short-circuited. Hot. Too hot. Emergency. "Call 911. Wait, no. This is fine. I am," Orm stammered. Ling chuckled. "Adorable. Who sent you?" Sent? Like, a sugar baby agency?" Orm's brain screamed at her to be honest. Instead, her mouth said, "A friend?" Ling's smirk deepened. "A surprise, then. I do love surprises." Oh no." Before Orm could confess that she was actually an artist who could barely afford toothpaste, Ling gently lifted Orm's chin with her manicured fingers. "I assume you're available for the weekend?" "Welp. Guess she's in. Too deep now." Orm's mouth went dry. Available for the weekend? What did that even mean? Did Ling expect... Okay, obviously. This was a sugar baby thing. A rich, powerful woman had just handpicked her, a walking disaster, to be her weekend companion. She should tell the truth. She really should. Instead, her broke ass looked at Ling's perfect, commanding smirk, felt the warmth of those fingers still lifting her chin, and blurted out, "Of course." Ling's eyes darkened with something wicked. "Good girl." Oh, fuck. Orm nearly passed out. She barely had time to process what was happening before Ling slid an arm around her waist, guiding her toward the VIP section like she was some precious, expensive prize. "Tell me, sweetheart," Ling purred, her breath warm against Orm's ear. "What's your name?" Orm swallowed. Should she lie? Use a sexy alter ego? "Carmen. Scarlet." "Moonlight?" "Orm," she croaked. Damn it. Ling chuckled, clearly entertained. "Orm, how exotic." "Girl, it's literally just Orm." They arrived at an intimate, dimly lit booth in the corner. A waiter appeared instantly, as if summoned by Ling's sheer boss energy, and poured them 2 glasses of the kind of wine Orm definitely couldn't afford. Ling clinked their glasses together. "To our weekend." Orm took a sip and immediately choked. It was so strong, expensive as hell, probably aged in a royal castle. Ling raised an eyebrow, amused. "Not a wine drinker?" Orm cleared her throat, trying to regain dignity. "Oh no, I love wine," she lied. "I just wasn't ready for how luxurious this one was." Ling smirked. "I like that you appreciate the finer things." Orm nodded, pretending she wasn't still recovering from rich people alcohol. "Poisoning." "So," Ling continued, running a finger along the rim of her glass. "Tell me, what do you like?" Orm's brain. Art? Naps? Crying in the shower? But she couldn't just say that, so she panicked and blurted, "Dogs?" Ling laughed, actually laughed, and it was the sexiest sound Orm had ever heard. "How refreshing," Ling mused. "Most of my dates list money, yachts, and designer bags." Orm nearly choked again. "Yeah, well, dogs are nice." Ling tilted her head, studying her. "You're adorable," she murmured, before trailing a slow finger along Orm's wrist. "And you blush so easily." "Oh, I'm dying. I'm actually dying." Then Ling leaned in, so close, her lips hovering just near Orm's ear. I hope you're ready for a very exciting weekend. Orm let out a strangled little squeak. She was so not ready. Somehow, Orm found herself in the backseat of a sleek black limousine with Lingling's arm draped casually over the backrest. The air between them was thick, charged, like Lingling was a predator simply enjoying the wait before devouring. Her prey, and Orm was sweating like a liar in church. She still couldn't believe this was happening. 1 second, she was a broke artist delivering a painting, and the next, she was being chauffeured to what she assumed was a billionaire's penthouse for the weekend. "You're very quiet," Lingling murmured, her voice silk and sin. Orm gulped. "Just taking it all in." Lingling's lips curled. Do you always jump into things so easily?" "Girl, if only you knew." Orm forced out a laugh. "Oh, totally. I'm all about spontaneity." Lingling hummed, fingers grazing along Orm's bare shoulder. "That's good," she said. "I do love a woman who can keep up with me." Orm's brain short-circuited. Lingling wanted her to keep up? With what? Her schedule? Her money? Her sinful hands? She barely had time to process before the car pulled up to a towering glass skyscraper, a building so expensive-looking that Orm immediately felt too poor to even breathe near it. Before she could ask any questions, Lingling took her hand and led her inside. The elevator ride was tense. Lingling stood so close, the heat of her body making Orm's skin tingle. And when Lingling turned her head just slightly, their lips were inches apart. "You're nervous," Lingling noted. Orm let out a high-pitched laugh. "Me? Pfft. No, I'm totally chill." Lingling smirked, leaning closer. "Are you? No, absolutely not." The elevator dinged. They stepped out into a penthouse that belonged in a magazine spread for people who owned private islands. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a sleek, modern design, a massive bed right in the center. Orm nearly swallowed her tongue. Lingling watched her reaction, clearly amused. "Relax, sweetheart. You're mine for the weekend. Make yourself comfortable." "Mine? Oh," Orm wheezed. "Right, sure, totally normal, very casual." Lingling chuckled, slowly sliding off her blazer. "Tell me something, Orm." Orm had to physically force herself not to stare at the way Lingling's blouse clung to her curves. "Uh-huh." Lingling stepped closer. "Has anyone ever told you how easy you are to tease?" Orm's breath hitched. What? "No. Who? Me? No way." Lingling smirked. "You're adorable." And then Lingling's fingers traced the edge of Orm's jaw before slowly sliding down to her throat. "Oh, I'm in trouble." Before Orm could overthink, Lingling's lips brushed against her ear, her voice a whisper. "Would you like me to ruin you, sweetheart? Dead or dying?" Orm's brain was screaming at her to confess the truth. Tell Lingling she wasn't a sugar baby, just a chaotic, broke artist who got lost and now somehow had a billionaire's hand around her throat. But instead, her mouth betrayed her. "Please." Lingling chuckled, low and satisfied. "Good girl." And then she kissed her. Deep, slow, deliciously dominant. Orm melted. Her knees wobbled. Lingling caught her with ease, guiding her toward the bed as she murmured against her lips. "You're already falling apart, aren't you?" Yes. Yes, she was. And the night was just getting started. Orm barely had time to breathe before Lingling's lips moved lower, slow and deliberate, like she was taking her sweet, agonizing time devouring every inch of her. Her mouth brushed just beneath Orm's jaw, a feather-light tease that sent a full-body shiver racing down Orm's spine. "You're trembling," Lingling murmured, voice dripping with satisfaction. Orm's breath hitched. You, she gasped, gripping the silk sheets as Lingling's fingers traced a slow, torturous path down her stomach. What?" Lingling asked, lips hovering. Just over Orm's collarbone, her tongue flicking out ever so slightly. Orm squeaked, actually, physically squeaked. Lingling laughed softly, her breath warm against Orm's skin. You're so easy to tease, sweetheart. She pressed a kiss just below Orm's collarbone, then another, lower, and Orm's entire world tilted. Lie Ling Ling, Orm gasped, hands gripping at anything. Ling Ling's arms, the sheets, possibly, the meaning of life itself, as heat coiled low in her stomach. Ling Ling sighed in mock disappointment, pausing her torment just long enough to cup Orm's chin between her fingers. You're already falling apart, she teased, eyes dark with amusement. Orm's cheeks burned hotter than the center of the sun. I am not falling apart, Ling Ling arched a brow. Oh? And then she moved lower. Orm's breath stuttered. Ling Ling's hands were everywhere, fingers gliding along Orm's thighs, nails scratching just enough to make Orm's nerves spark. You poor thing, Ling Ling purred, lips ghosting over. Orm's skin, her voice pure, wicked seduction. Orm almost died. This was too much. This was insanity. This was, Ling Ling's lips brushed lower. Orm let out a choked whimper. And then, possessed! The damn phone! Orm yelled into the void. Ling Ling let out a frustrated sigh, dropping her forehead to Orm's shoulder with a slow, exasperated laugh. I'm going to destroy whoever that is, she muttered against Orm's skin. Please do, Orm whined, beyond desperate. Ling Ling took one deep, steadying breath before pulling away with an air of unfairly graceful control, like she wasn't seconds, away from absolutely ruining Orm's entire existence. Orm, on the other hand, a wreck. Ling Ling grabbed the phone from the nightstand, glanced at the screen, and let out an amused huff. Oh, Orm swallowed. Oh? Ling Ling smirked, turning the screen so Orm could see. It was a text from Orm's best friend, Pim. Pim. Bro, where are you? Did you die? Call me or I'm reporting you missing. Orm groaned, flopping back onto the pillows. I hate everything. Ling Ling chuckled, tossing the phone back onto the nightstand. She studied Orm for a moment, a knowing gleam in her eyes. Before leaning down once more, she brushed her lips over Orm's cheek, soft and teasing, before whispering against her ear. Seems like we'll have to finish this later, sweetheart. Orm nearly cried. Orm was still recovering from the absolute robbery of being left hanging when Ling Ling, looking way too satisfied with herself, pulled away, stretched like a damn lioness in silk, and casually checked her watch, like she hadn't just turned Orm into a desperate, trembling mess. Orm gawked at her. You're seriously just leaving me like this? Ling Ling smirked. You'll live. No, I won't, Orm deadpanned. Ling Ling laughed, completely unbothered. If I gave you everything you wanted right now, what fun would that be? I hate you. No, you don't. I might. Ling Ling leaned in dangerously close again, her breath warm against Orm's lips. Then why are you still shaking, sweetheart? Orm made a wounded noise, gripping the sheets like they owed her rent money. Ling Ling's low chuckle sent another shiver down her spine. But just as Orm was about to combust, Ling Ling straightened, smoothing her dress like she hadn't just been, seconds away from ruining Orm's entire existence. I have a meeting in an hour, she said casually. You should rest. Rest? Orm screeched, sitting up. After what you just did to me? Ling Ling tilted her head, all false innocence. I didn't do anything, sweetheart. Orm threw a pillow at her. Ling Ling dodged it with an infuriatingly elegant sidestep and strolled toward the bathroom. Take a shower, get comfortable, she said over her shoulder. You're staying here for the weekend, remember? Oh, right, the fake sugar baby arrangement. The reason Orm was here in the first place, except, was it still fake? Orm stared after Ling Ling's retreating form, her stomach doing wild, confusing flips, because here was the problem. She wasn't supposed to like this. This was just a hilarious accident that had spiraled out of control. She wasn't supposed to be swooning like a love-struck idiot every time Ling Ling smirked at her, and she definitely wasn't supposed to be aching for her like this. But here she was, a mess, an absolute mess. And Ling Ling wasn't supposed to care. But as she disappeared into the bathroom, her smirk faltered, just slightly.